podcast where art and wellness collide. Well, hi and welcome back to the Healthy Metal Hippie. Today we are here with our friend Nikken from Norway, who is the demon director and producer and composer of Isiliel, which you've met on our show before. So thank you so much for being here today. We are so happy to have you.
Thank you so very much. Nice to be here.
We finally got to meet at the Black Heart show in London on the 20th of July this year, which is 2025, just in case you catch this later. And honestly, I've been seeing Himari play for a few years now. And the first time with a band, I was like, wow, this is top tier, mind-blowing shit. Yeah, I have no words because it was that good. I just wish I could have stood a little bit closer since, I was at the booth and everything, but
no, there was, it's so fun that you think that. And I happen to agree. That was perhaps the highlight of the tour. So much weird stuff had happened leading up to it. And the fact that we had great sound there, comes down to, we had a really fucking good sound tech. That's one thing. And before that too, we realized at the start of the tour that we don't have a backline. We don't have amps and none of the venues have amps. So we did some crazy solutions. You might ask about those later. But what we basically did was that we basically took the album sounds and rigged them up to Ricky's computer. And we louned those out through the PA. And for some reason, we had great sound. And the drummer was fucking impeccable. Bogus and the other musicians too are great musicians. So it's super fortunate to have, great musicians because it makes all the difference.
And and it showed. Oh my God, everybody was raving about that show. It's been It's been a couple weeks now, a week and a half, and everybody is still talking about it everywhere.
That's so incredibly cool. And
right?
Of course, Himari, she's become such a great vocalist.
Yes. Yes. And I swear, every time I see her, she gets better and better and better. And I'm really excited about the future for her. And I'm really excited that in my own way, I get to be part of it. Even though that's this booking, the easy shit. You guys do the hard shit. I just book the shit.
Yes. It's not like I composed an album or anything.
No. Yeah. What? Did you compose an album? Tell me more.
And produce it too? Oh my God.
I know.
It's literally the first album that I produced in whole.
Oh, really? So I brought a copy. So we've got Moonbow Rebellion here. Honestly, fucking incredible.
Thank you so much.
See, we're going to have to talk about this too, because you told me that you struggle with taking compliments. So we'll get back to that later. So you composed this, you produced it.
One thing on the topic that we were on is that a special thanks was given to a wonderful woman called Tanya Chong, a good friend of mine, who gave some voice lessons to Himari that has to do with unlocking power in your voice, right? And that made a huge difference. And it's Himari was a different vocalist afterwards. We didn't have a lot of time for the album too. So it's those things were she's super good. It took literally a day and the voice was unlocked.
This was crazy too, because I know I was watching along and I was like, did I just miss something? But I felt how you guys did that so fast. This is light speed. It was so fast.
There are a couple of things to it too. I'm not going to speak too much on her behalf, but it's one of the differences, for better or for worse. It's this isn't as clean a production as the one that you had in Studio Fredman. He's one of my big idols when it comes to, he's actually the biggest idol that I have when it comes to production, right? It's just that I can't produce like him. My way has always been, I'm trying to capture a moment of passion. I'm trying to capture someone who's deeply in it. You want to believe as a listener that the people who are in front of the microphone are having a great fucking time. So it's okay, let's just make sure that's actually true. So it's the number one thing I said to Himari was, okay, Choto, one more take. More fun. I want to hear the smile in this, right? And that was another thing too. So it's I don't know how much of a difference that actually made, but things that were done with the voice work was super efficient. It's because Himari is a very skilled vocalist from before. She has a lot of practice. She knows what she's doing. She's able to take those things instant. And all of a sudden, you have a voice that fits the music more accurately.
And it shows. And I think anybody who has followed her for some time would agree. It's a lot to be proud of with this one. You really should be. Just saying.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Okay, you do so many fucking things, which is really, really cool. But how did you first get connected with Ricky and with Himari?
So that was a fun thing. It's like I had initially quit music. I felt like I had done the big things that I wanted to do and that I was kind of done with it. And then I was short on cash while being a student because I was starting to become a lecturer. So it's like, okay, I need more cash. Let's just start a Sound Better profile, right? And I'll just create a quick demo, put it up there. And a couple of months went by and suddenly this guy called Ricky, that was the name that was front there, more of a professional name in that case. But it's like, hey, you have worked with black metal stuff, kinda, right? That's not what he said, but it's basically what it amounts to. I had put in my credits Immortal, right? And we want to do black metal stuff for a Japanese metal idol unit called Necronominal. So it's like, this is so fun. This sounds so out there. It's like, there's no way I cannot do this, obviously, because it's like, I grew up with like Japanese culture and stuff like that. Like Pokemon is like the beginning of everything, right? As regards us all. But it's like when I got older and teenager and all the cool girls were like into Death Note and stuff, like all of us, started watching anime too. And it's like I became obsessed with like the Japanese composers Kaji Urayuki and Yoko Kanno. Ricky lists inspirations, Kaji Urayuki, very early. It's like, oh yes, we can do this. We can absolutely do this, right? And so I composed a song for Necronominal first.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And then they broke up. And I thought, oh, fuck, man, there goes my shot at entering, the Japanese market, which was something that actually inspired me enough to want to continue doing music, right? Because I had never touched any of that stuff. But then Ricky was like, but we're starting another project called Isiliel, and we're kind of building from the stuff that, we'd already established with a song. And building off that, I was asked to do a second song, and the response, and that song was like the birth song of Isiliel was, as far as I understand, Komyo Kishi. And that was released, and for some reason that gained I think it's close to 200,000 views on YouTube now. That was a big deal apparently. So it's like, hey, do you want to do the full album?
You're like, well.
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact, want to do a full album. I never composed a full album before, so that sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. And I learned so much stuff doing that. And I had so many ideas about what it would mean to, write a full album. And it started growing into a concept album because everything built on all the other things, right? It's like we wanted it to be like a floaty organic thing. It's like we saw how it all connected, and it's like, this is a concept album in full. So we ended up making it a concept album. And well, that was the first album, right? And that's basically how I got involved with everything. And final fun facts, I'm divorced now, but I had my honeymoon in Tokyo as the album was getting released in Tokyo. So the first Isiliel show, I think, with the musician was with me on the release show in Tokyo.
Oh, how cool is that? I had no idea.
It's so fucking cool, right? And that was so fun.
I want to go to Tokyo.
Of course you do. It's amazing. Tokyo is really, well, if you're a tourist at least, it's really fucking cool.
Yeah, I need to make that happen one day.
Absolutely do.
It has to. So you're just everywhere. You are there. And I love that.
I just stumble into things.
Yeah, it's okay though. I think sometimes those are the best things, with the greatest outcomes. You're like, oh, well, I am here now. And it actually worked out amazingly well.
Yeah, I feel like Jack Sparrow is sometimes my guardian angel. It's like, here you have the highest fuck up potential. I'm just going to steer you gently in the direction where things don't go catastrophically wrong by pure accidents.
That's important,
how it
right?
feels. Like, this should have gone bad. This shouldn't have worked. And for some reason it just did. Because of, literal circumstance.
I love moments like that, though. Oh my God. You're just like, wow. Everything's kind of amazing. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so
guess how I felt when they asked for album number 2?
Awful, right? No, you were thrilled and you killed it
Thank you so much.
In a good way, yeah.
It's like the first album, just with more experience, right? The primary difference is actually that, in the second album, I knew it was going to be a full album from the first song. So instead of composing the first song, it's like I was actually composing all the songs at the same time.
Oh, I'm blown away by it. It's so good.
It's actually 2 months ago that the final deadline for publishing the final mix to Ricky happened. But I would have been so happy to hear right then that people were going to, love it. Because the response, I was expecting people to be like, oh, they couldn't live up to the potential of the first one or something like that, right? It's kind of the thing you're
No,
afraid of, right?
I totally understand that, but in this case, blew it out of the water. Obviously, still, there's so much love for that first album. It's incredible, but it's like it comes back with teeth. It's just, if you haven't got it yet, you need to buy this album. You'll be very happy when you have a copy of this album.
Please buy the music. You will be very happy, and so will I.
Exactly. Everybody will be happy. Well, even the event that she did at HMB, she sold out everything there, which everybody was mind blown about at the store, which is really cool. What I saw the post, all the CDs on tour sold out. It's a lot to be proud of.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Now there's already talk of a third album, yeah?
Is there?
What? A third album? Nah.
Who could talk about that?
Nobody down the line.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Okay, we'll leave it as perhaps. But no matter what, like, there's just lots of really cool shit coming. And I love that. I love that for you. You have also been involved with a ton of other projects, right? Do you want to just give people a little bit of a background on you and like how you just became so fabulous?
Well, one of the questions I remember in the first band I played in, a band called Vengeance. I remember because we played like, there was a school band kind of, like all the members were members of the school, right? And I remember that we played at one of the school shows, and I remember like some of the other kids were like, hey, virgins, not vengeance.
Okay.
Right? And that's kind of like the first show was so fucking dreadful. So the girls in the front row were screaming, but I learned afterwards that the front guy we had literally like asked him to. So it's like, it's been a long and hard way, as it were. That guy, I fucking love that guy. We should get back in touch. A guy called Patadalna, who plays in a Cosmic Swing Orchestra, I think it's called.
Why does that sound so cool?
Because he's fucking batshit, and he used to think I was batshit.
And then you're like, hold my beer. and
then, yeah, I'm a bad influence. But he used to ask me, Nikken, how did you become like that? Right? And I...
This is the story we need. All right, Dave, turn up the volume.
Right? And I don't necessarily know if there's anything particularly different or worthwhile, but at this time I was very eccentric, at least. That is something. So I, generally speaking, don't enjoy the approach to things that are rule-bound. I, generally speaking, think that you should write rules as you need them. And I didn't learn things by, what would you call it? I know music theory, of course I do, but it's like I only learned that to the extent where it was helpful to solve a problem, and the way music theory helped me was like the most boring possible solutions to problems. And there are going to be people who have been like, you're using it wrong. It's like, yes, I don't deal well with structure in that particular way. So I was just listening to stuff like, wouldn't it be cool if we did this instead? Or, that's always been my approach. And I keep thinking about Stephen King too, which is like, used to be one of my favorite authors and still is. He's a genius in his own right. Absolutely. But when he writes stories, he said in his book on writing that he starts with, hey, wouldn't it be cool if this happened or if that happened, right? And I find that that's even how I write music. I just go for a walk and it's like, I just imagine, wouldn't it be cool if, and then you kind of like, everyone can hum a melody, right? Yeah. That's actually how I write. I don't sit with a guitar and do stuff. I just let my mind create something, and it can do that. And everyone can do that. So yeah, I've been kind of going off on the far end. There's a lot of stuff to it, right? But that's basically the start of it. That's the general gist of my approach. I just I start with not thinking I know anything, and I just do things, and I hope it works, right? Probably going off on a long end, but how did I get involved with other projects and stuff? And it basically was my friends were after junior high school. It was like, what are we going to do next? And my friends were going to go to a place called Nurov, a music school. And it's like, I just want to go and hang out with my friends. And that's literally why I went to music school. I just want to be with my friends. And teachers there are Herbrand Larsen and Arve Isdal from Enslaved. And they recruited me from the school to work in their studio, Irshad and Conclave. that's where things become high octane and interesting. And I still can't fathom why they wanted to have me there, but I suppose that it's fun to have people who do things differently. One of the days I recall looking at ultimateguitar.com that Immortal was working on the new album. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what happens next, right? And this is their studio, Irsten Conclave. Like, people from Vardruna and Enslaved and Gal walked in at some point. Like, all those big figures in Norwegian black metal, they just waltz in, day out. So it's like, you just get so accustomed to it. But nothing prepared me for when Immortal walked in. And, and I was apparently going to work in the new album.
Surprise!
Yeah, surprise, right? Surprise. And no pressure, but this is the first album without Abbath. So it's like, oh, so, so this is how it happens, huh? I'm going to take the fault for that one. No, because for some reason, me and Harald Demonas, for some reason, when we worked in his vocals, that was a good cooperation. We had a good thing going there, and we managed to get the vocals done for the album. And I actually had backing vocals for one of the tracks, Call to Ice, like a deep, Call to Ice, like a deep guttural thing, right? Just having fun in the studio. And I think that's kind of why that was so fun for him too. It's like different approach, right? The fun-oriented approach to recording, right? And from there on, well, I could tell people that I've worked with Immortals, so people want to work with me just because of that. And that's basically the full snowball of it, I suppose.
It's pretty cool, though. I'm just saying. I think there's something to be said when you are allowing yourself to be free to create. I mean, I talk about this a lot, like our fear just holds us back. Our fear of like, what if this is not going to be good? What if, what if everybody hates me? Well, they're not. They're not going to hate you. They're not going to hate what you do. You know what I mean? We are like, we're our own worst enemy. And so you're sitting there going, look, I'm fearless and I'm going to go create this shit. And I love that.
And that's not me in the least, is the funny part, right? Because I feel all of that pressure and all of that fear whenever I do things.
Right.
And learning to think like you suggest, right? It's kind of like, I have that as like a mantra all the time. It's like, let's just try to make this fun.
Yeah.
Instead.
And I love that. It takes the pressure off, right? In a big way, I would think, right? Okay, so I was like doing another interview earlier with the guitar teacher player, and but we were talking about just like when it comes to writing, and writing has always been my big outlet since I could hold a pen. Okay. But then I find myself getting stuck in the what ifs and in the panicking about writing for whatever reason. But lately, just really gone, fuck it. What harm is it going to do? It's just a pen on paper. What harm is that going to do? And so just, giving yourself freedom to create and like express yourself. So fucking healing too.
Like I had a debate with my friends the other day, and those are like, especially if you're, fortunate enough to be involved with big projects, right? Ego is always going to be a problem. You're always going to have that issue of, you risk conflating yourself with the size of things. But my friends have always been very good at like, I'm going to remind you that you're that fucking stupid shit-eating kid, in the front row who were cracking fart jokes in junior high school. Right?
Fart jokes are still funny, though. It's fine.
South Park gets away with it. Why can't I? Right?
You can too.
I have new aspirations.
Fart jokes unlocked.
Fuck yes, right? And I was having a debate with them the other day, actually. It's like, because they do songwriting too. And they're both advocates for creative expression within constraints. Like, that's like one of those wisdom things that's going around. It's like, putting limitations on yourself can aid your creativity. And I suppose it can. I can't talk to everyone. But I will say that as far as I have a system of sorts, it's kind of like taste is kind of everything. It really comes down to, do you like things? And do you want to create that thing that you like?
Yeah.
Right? And if you do that, then you have what you need of constraints and support, as far as I'm concerned.
No, I agree with that too. I think there's like, how small do you want to make your box is kind of what what I think, right? Because right now I'm in that state where I'm like, fuck the box and, you know, burn it down. And
poor box.
sorry, box. But it's true. That's kind of where I feel right now. Cause I've put too much of a box on myself. And so I need to like, that box is like, it's no good for me. Right. And I think sometimes getting just like a shift in your mindset and things like that, you need that freedom where there isn't a constraint and the coolest shit can come out of that too. Right. Like, I think so. But I also, yeah, I agree with you though.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Me so smart.
You are. This whole episode's going to be me going, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. But it's kind of like, I really do mean that. It's like, I think a lot of the problems many people have in general, and I've had this problem too, is directionlessness. Like you don't know what you want to do. The moment you start thinking in terms of, I actually thought this quite a bit, but I made efforts not to. I have to make sure this album is better than the first album. And the moment you start thinking that, you start thinking, what do people want to hear? And that kind of stuff. And then your taste is out of the equation. Now the taste is not making the choices yet. Now it's basically your limited cognitive ability trying to extract limited shit. Like we need bigger choruses or whatever. But you can't do things that are really fucking cool if you think like that. Because if you think like that, you're doing things that have already been done.
Yeah.
Right? And many of the things that people find fun to hear is basically, this is cool and I haven't heard it before. That's like the magical formula. And the only thing that can make that, your taste is more intelligent than your limited analytical ability. Like science, which is analytical, is a very slow process that spans a long period of time. It gets to the answer, but it gets there very slow, which is why you know it works, right? But your taste is an intuitive thing. It can think past borders and it can think past things. And as long as you have something that guides your direction so that you know where you're headed, right? I think it's so counter to what many people are advised, I think. It's like learn the structures and that kind of stuff, and absolutely do, but there are ways to learn that. And I think that training your taste has at least helped me the most. Like trusting your gut feeling that this sounds cool, this is epic, I want to do this thing.
I don't know. I think about that too. Like if you do it with passion and you love what you're doing, somebody else is going to love it too. And that passion really comes through. Right. And I think that's another part of it is like, if you can convey the emotion, even if it is just the emotion through it, then it will connect with people like it's connected with you.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I really believe that. And there's a method to that madness too. It's like, I remember in like January, February, as I was working on Serpents Abad, right? There's a section that at least the people I toured with seem to really enjoy this section. But there's a section of that song that people seem to enjoy that to me was, I was really proud of that section too when I was working with it. It's like, this is like, I have exceeded my own expectations of myself with this one. Which is kind of like, I remember thinking to myself that I wonder what falling in love feels like, right? And I was just consulting my musical intuitive mind, call it whatever you want. But I was like humming with my mind on that feeling. Like I really want to know what that feels like properly. And that melody just came like with that as a response to that, right? And back to the whole thing I said with like anyone can hum a melody. It's like there's an intuition there that everyone has to some degree. That's my primary songwriting toolkit. It's so stupidly simple that I feel stupid for, you have these Mozarts and people who would like have these advanced formulas and shit. And I just have like, I have a melody.
But that's the thing though. It doesn't have to have an advanced formula to be good, right? It has to have connection, spirit, heart, soul connection.
That's it. Right. And your taste is connected to that stuff, which is again, why I think that's so important if you want to connect to people. Right. And I remember the Himari herself had quite strong words about that song and all that stuff. And I don't think that's an accident of sorts because I was specifically writing it as much as I could from a very strong emotional ground. Thinking in terms of I'm trying to make something that sounds like this versus I'm just consulting what that sounds like to me.
Right.
They sound so similar, but they're quite different approaches. And I've just learned to trust that, I think.
I really do believe that. if you love it, even if you don't love it, somebody will connect to it, right? There's always
Right.
something that you're like, huh, I don't get it, but I get why people love it. And I'm not sorry, and I'm not saying that in this situation. I'm just saying in general, like, people will
Mm.
always connect to something, right? Because it'll evoke some kind of emotion in them.
Right. I remember that at my teacher, Habon, right, from Enslaved, I remember talking to him about my favorite Enslaved song. And it's like, he did not think very much of it himself. You know, to him, that was kind of like just doing his thing. But to me, it was special. And I think that's a bit weird too when I hear people liking certain songs. It's like, to me, that's just me doing my thing. And it's so weird that of all songs, here is the song that I really put a lot of effort into and really tried to fire on all cylinders, as it were. And sometimes those just get overlooked. So it's like,
You're like, my heart.
it's exactly like that, right? So it's like, don't think you're smart. It's a reminder of that.
Yeah, no, I know. It is funny sometimes, right? What people pick up on, and maybe you never know, maybe it is something like where that passion came out more in that other song for whatever reason, right? Cuz you were putting less of that brain power into it. I don't know. But you know what I mean, right? Cuz then it's kind of more raw.
Yeah, but it's like I put, not equal, but I put a lot of brain power into every song. But some songs I'm just happy with. Some songs I just feel like, okay, I finally did it. This satisfies my taste, right? And some songs it's like, I would love to spend another year on this song,
Right. Okay, yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like this feels unfinished to me, but we have a deadline.
Tricky.
Very tricky.
So clearly, we've been going through here with a little bit of a back and forth of you're great and a thank you, you're welcome kind of moment. And we were talking a little bit before we actually got started recording about ego and keeping things balanced and keeping things in check. So, how do you cope with that? Because on the road, you were saying, especially, people come up to you like, oh my God, man, you're a fucking genius. And you're like, yes, thank you. Yeah. How do you cope with it?
I'm not sure I'm coping with it. It's kind of thing. It's going to take some time to figure out, but I know that there are two sides to this thing, right? So I'm going to start with my end of things, which is like everyone has listened to my music and has a cursory knowledge of like metal history for the past 20 years can understand that I have derived a lot of influence from a band called In Flames, particularly from like the 90s to the early 2000s, right? So when I really try to understand their music, I actually did the opposite of what it sounds like I do usually. I actually deconstructed the music as much as I possibly could to understand where's the magic juice coming from, right? And I understood at some point it comes from nowhere. This is not about In Flames, and it's not about any band in particular or any producer. It's about there's a very fragile illusion that is being created at some point in the artistic endeavor, if you will. And when it's active and everyone can partake in it, it's a magical thing, and it creates gods and cosmos and that sort of stuff because we're primed as people to create those things. But those people, which I have so much respect for, like you wouldn't believe. Like it was my recommendation to Ricky that worked with Fredrik Nordstrom, who's their legendary producer, who created that soundscape. I really wanted to work with him because I want to learn from him, and that made me able to produce the second album. Let's say because I learned so much from him. But it's like there is no magic juice. There is no grand secret, as it were. It is simply just we're people and we have tastes, and the same proclivity that the listener has when they create cosmos in their heads when they listen to something is kind of like the same thing that I rely on when I write stuff. You can't make something that sounds epic to people in isolation. You need the fans for it. You need listeners. You need everyone. And that, I suppose, is what keeps me humbled. Where people really think it's awesome stuff. People say the cliche that they're literally just people. But if people had spent their time doing the same things that I had, they would be able to do pretty much the same things, right? It is magic. It is absolutely magic. It's just not unique magic. It's everyone has the ability. If you have the ability to enjoy music, you have the ability to create it. Because I literally used my music enjoyer mode to create music, right? So if people see stuff, this is actually something this is also another thing of that. When I see people who listen intently to the music and pull apart like the structures put together like this and so forth, it's hard to notice those things. It's much easier to write those things than it is to notice them. So it's like I have a lot of respect for the people who listen so intently and end up creating a greater experience from it. But the experience is created in the listener, not in my end on the DAW. When I'm in that, I'm finally done with the mix. I don't even hear the music anymore at that point. I hear the music in my head half a year in advance of that. But then when you actually do the music, it fades away. So I suppose that's kind of how it is. I know it's not witchcraft because I do it. Right? The witchcraft is the intuition that comes half a year in advance, and everyone has those moments at 3 a.m. in the morning where like they dream up huge things in their heads, right?
Mm-hmm. Or
And
they
my
wake
job,
up and go,
right?
there it
And I
is.
just right, and I do my best to try and capture those moments, and that's what it is. Everyone can do that.
That's
Mm,
true.
mm.
I mean, it's interesting though. I guess I'm just thinking about like all the musicians that we admire and everything. You're just like, holy fuck, you're so amazing. But I think it's like those people, those artists, they obviously like struck a chord with you, right? That
Right.
there's something that spoke to your being, and that
Mm.
is why you're
Yeah.
just like, why are you so great? Right?
Right. But it's like that's so cool, and I think about this stuff all the time because it's like think about people like Alice Cooper, but like before you were able to see their show, and it's like they strike all the chords, right?
Mm,
It's like something struck them first based on things that had been done before them,
mm,
right? Like people say this about Ozzy. Actually, this was actually Gene Simmons lately had just had an interview where he talked about Ozzy being a singularity. Like usually you can point to cases like Alice Cooper's, like it derives from this and this and this, and it's very
yeah.
hard to do that with Ozzy. That was Gene Simmons' point.
Mm,
But typically, it's like there are reasons why things strike a chord, and for some people, it's just like, wouldn't it be cool if this and this? Like, oh yeah, that's so cool, right? And
mhm.
it enchants the person who creates it as much as it does the listener. So it's like they're not immune from the spell at all. From my perspective, these things come to me like from above. They rest on the shoulders of giants. They rest on like the things In Flames did, which rests on what Judas Priest did, and so forth. It's like you don't feel like you're writing anything. You feel like just you're being handed great ideas. And if it connects to you, it will probably connect to a lot of people too. And that's, I suppose, the answer to the groundedness and the what connects and what doesn't connect. It's like what connects to you connects to everyone else.
It's so true. And I don't know, it's just nice to be part of that. And I always think about like the community that you get with music when you're part of any kind of fandom or anything like that. There's
Mm.
something just, yeah, it just unites everybody. And God, it feels
Yeah.
so fucking good.
And people have to be aware of that. I'm a regular dude who just so happened to roll into a situation where people are like, oh, you projected that persona, right? It's projected onto you. And so now the cliches are starting to make sense. It's like when people are saying that literally the fans create it. Literally, it's all about the fans. It's true because that's the difference between you're sitting in your basement and you're dreaming up something cool and you just forget about it, you put it in a bin and you forget about it, right? The difference is like when fans experience it and they create something out of it, an experience. We feed off of that. And you can see Himari doing that all the time when she's on stage. Depending on the audience and whether the audience connects it and understands it or not, she's a different beast. And when she sees what connects, she becomes dangerous, right? You can tell, like in the clips, it's like, I see what connects. I see where those moments where people are in it and everyone partakes in the illusion,
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
in the experience, right? Everyone, including us, right? Especially
Yes.
including her, right? So it's like, literally, it's the crowd that creates it. So I have as much admiration for the crowd being able to spot it as I have for, let's say, Himari's ability to sing. She's a great visionary, by the way. I haven't even called that part out yet, but she's a really fucking good visionary when it comes to like creative work.
It's easy to see that too from her.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I think too, especially as you like get to know her a little bit and you're
Mm.
like, yeah,
Mm.
don't fuck with her.
No, and it's so it's so not everyone even notices that part, but it's so incredibly true. Like the first moment I met her, it's like she's kind of terrifying. Like, and not in a bad way. It's like she has this hyper attunement to everything around her,
Yeah.
right? And she uses the hyper attunement. Like when I send rough drafts of the music, she makes stuff that send away that feels like a demo, right? And she makes it feel like a living thing when she interprets it. It's the same effect like with a musician in the crowd. It's kind of the same feedback I get with Heat Money when I get like her impression of it. It's like, oh, you see something in it, then it must be real,
Yeah.
right?
No, absolutely.
And she notices everything. Like if I have a subtle intention with something, and Serpent's About is such a great example of that. I don't even explain anything to her in regards to like what is this about or anything, because that'll just disrupt the process. I've just learned to trust her intuition at this point. It's so on point that it's scary, right? Serpent's About is a great example. She really understood that song from the ground up, and she had no. I can't make sense out of how she could understand it because it's such a weird idea, right? And I would just advise people to just read the lyrics and see how she made sense of it. But that's kind of the essence of it. And I get to say like, oh yes, you're on point, or no, you're not on point, and stuff like that. So we have a dialogue surrounding things. But she's a really intelligent individual.
Absolutely, she is. And I think also too, when people meet her, she doesn't forget fucking anybody. It
No.
is crazy. I'm like,
Yeah.
sometimes, okay, often I meet people and like I forget their names like 2 seconds later. And obviously not quite as cool. But I remember the first time that we met, my hair was actually quite a bit longer. Like, I don't know, probably was like, I don't know, down here, down by my like waist. And she kind of went like, we have the same hair. And she grabbed my hair and she was just like, oh, like your hair's so pretty. We're sisters basically. But now I feel like we kind of have like a little sisterly bond, which is sweet. But yeah, every time that I met her since, I mean, even before I started like doing work for them, it's like always, I'm so happy to see you. Oh my gosh, you came. I can't believe you're here. And I'm like, of course I'm here. Like,
Right. And I'm
yeah.
so happy to see people who have seen twice. Like, there's more than one, but special shout out to a guy called Derek, right? In this case,
Yes.
Derek Cockerell, right? Because he came all the way to fucking Kongsvinger in Norway for that show,
Yeah.
right? And we had like a great talk. He was such a
Oh,
cool guy.
he's so sweet.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, I mean, I just met him on the 20th there, right? But I was like, you were actually just so lovely.
Oh, he's a lovely guy.
It was interesting doing the fan event at HMV because when so many of these people came in, I'm like, do I know these people because they're regulars at the shop? Or I'm like, no, these are Himari's people. They're all here. I'm like, these are the usual suspects. It's really cool. But that's the thing. People adore her and with good reason. Absolutely.
Yeah, she is really, really in tune with people, right? And anyone who's talked to her can notice that. When it comes to the thing that we're doing, it's kind of like we have these really abstract images and surreal things. She knows how to relay those things and make them digestible for people without dumbing them down, because her lyrics, her ideas, her entire endeavor, it's not a stupid dumbed down thing in the least.
No.
And for some reason, she's able to humanize it, right? To really bring them to life. And the intuition grasps a lot more than your like conscious awareness, your attempt to grasp things, right? You just feel things. And she probably unconsciously capitalizes that a lot when it comes to conveying the vision. That's a special talent that you cannot overestimate it.
No, it's really, really true though. And I think that just it adds to the magic of the whole of everything, right?
It does.
I like my magic.
So what we do is like, it's a magic thing.
It is.
Music. No, like if I believed in any other kind of magic, I probably wouldn't be doing music.
I think that's fair though. I do think that's fair. Yeah. It is magical.
You can't plan for a song like the ones that I'm the most happy about. They just happen. And life is like that, right? So it's like, I think that you should model things thereafter. Just allow for good things. Knowing how to
Yeah.
allow for good things, that's kind of the real art, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That I think is where a lot of people get that, where they get really tied up, right? Where they catch themselves, where they fuck themselves over,
Mm.
right? I really do. And that leads us right into everything working out as it's supposed to, doesn't it?
Mm. Precisely. I have no idea about what things are supposed to be. I don't believe in grand structures.
And I think it's
Just the magic
constantly
of the moment.
changing, isn't it?
It is.
We always end up in the right place with the right people around us. And it doesn't have to necessarily be like forever, but for the time and space that you are, it's always right.
I think that you become the right person for your circumstances often. I think that's kind of how that works. My personal take, at least. So I believe in change. I really
Adapting
do.
and
Yeah, you can call it adapting. Technically, that's right? But it has such a negative sound that you
it
have to
does. You're
conform.
like, adapt.
Conform. So
How about
someone is,
you, like fucking butterfly mode
right?
into
But it's like,
something magical,
right? But it's like,
colorful, like all this black?
but it's like, no, it's like things are happening around you and they're magical and you can open yourself up to them or not. And I don't see the difference between opening yourself up and adaptability.
Yeah, that's true. Why do you think that people are so closed off to the shit, though? You don't
Gee,
want to open up?
why wouldn't they be? It's like, you know better than anyone why
Do
opening
I?
up is a huge risk.
Yeah, that's true. I find that it's worth it. It's fucking scary, but it's worth it.
And it is like your taste, that's my word for it, but it's bigger than that, of course. Your intuition, your feeling for life and all that kind of stuff. I talk about my servitude for beauty as a value, which I mean, right? But that's another word for my taste, if you will, right? It's like a divine voice that guides you through everything.
Yeah,
But that's kind of it. It's like it becomes trained. It becomes more intelligent over time if you let it become more intelligent. So it becomes better at figuring out, well, what is actually beautiful. That evolves.
that
Like,
does evolve too, doesn't it?
right. So it's like when you're dealing with people who, let's say love bomb you, give you a
Right.
lot of like praise up front, it's like that becomes off putting after a while. It stops becoming a beautiful thing after you've seen the dark side of it.
Yeah, that's true. Love bombing is scary too.
So of course, always open yourself up to the things that, are the most open yourself up to worthy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Make mistakes and let those things nurture that, you know, proclivity, that ability to see beauty.
It's interesting though. I mean, even if you talk about beauty and just in the world and life and everything, that definition is so different for people. And also, yes, how it evolves over time. And I don't know, just how like so many different things influence you and how, yeah, I like that we are ever evolving people. And hopefully we're going like this and not like this, but we might go like this and that's okay too.
This is my favorite book. I use it as a wake up clock. Like you scan the barcode and it lets you wake up. And it's Thus Speaks Zarathustra by Nietzsche. And that is kind of my great teacher in things, because that's the same like attitude towards non-rule boundedness, and kind of like you create your own rules as you need them and take care
Yeah.
not to let other people's values bog you down. And it can sound very psychopathic, very narcissistic. It can sound very idealize yourself, and but it's really like you will always let something tyrannize you. And they can be your own values or they can be someone else's values. And
That's because it's just like staying true to yourself and like really getting comfortable with yourself.
you're always doing that no matter what you do. I think it's like if your idea of best is servitude to other people's values, then be honest about that. That's fine, I think. Right. And sometimes that's the right choice. It's like a lot of the time, people don't question why they do things they do, or they just take for granted that, oh, other people say it's good, so it must be good. And having the attitude, like, you know yourself well enough as I do myself well enough, right? Know that we're all completely full of shit, right? In various ways. And you've caught yourself in saying stupid things to people and you regret it the next day and so on and so forth. And so many of the things that we take for granted, I think, are just stupid, regurgitated nonsense that's been regurgitated for a very long period of time because they sound nice. And a lot of the time, freeing yourself from the idea that what sounds right is necessarily right is a very important step. And I think that's centered to my endeavor, certainly. And I think it's a nice perspective to have. If you notice that this is good, even if no one else says it's good, your taste and your intuition and your attachment to the divine, whatever you want to call it, why not give that a shot? Why let preconceptions get in the way of that? And I suppose that's kind of my attitude. It's like, I don't let things that I don't understand to be above my intuitions. I don't let those get in the way of things. They might be above, they might be better, but if I don't know that, right, it's okay to just let yourself be an idiot. And oftentimes you'll find that maybe you weren't such an idiot. Maybe you were just doing the same thing that the people who created rules initially, were doing. It's like just stumbling through the darkness and realizing that this and this sounds good together, right?
I mean, I think too, even sometimes you'll do things that you feel are totally fucking crazy, but you're doing them intuitively, and then you wind up in the right place anyway, where you're like, actually, this is better than I could have thought.
Right. I really believe in that, and opening yourself up to things that you think are worthwhile. Really believe that. Jesus fucking Christ. It's like one of my great risks is always being afraid of trying. You would not think that one of my great fears is trying new things, but it is.
No, I wouldn't. Really.
It really is, because new things is where all the bad shit happens, right? You build up.
New things is where the good shit happens.
That is the second part of it. Old shit is where all the predictable stuff happens.
Yeah.
Right? And the devil, and that literally means that, right? But it's like, I choose to believe in the highest possible beauty that has not been realized. And in order to find that, I cannot find it in what has been established. That would run counter to, discovering. I hope that the coolest thing ever hasn't been created. I really hope not.
But
so in order to do that,
that's it too. If the coolest thing's ever been created, there's going to be a new coolest thing, and then a new one, right?
Oh yeah, that was the thing. What you're saying, whether it's going downhill or uphill, right? But it's like, who decides what's uphill, what's up, what's down, right? That is the part that changes.
But it's so true, though, right? And because even those parts that sometimes fucking feel like nosedive. Can actually be, maybe it's actually a springboard, or maybe it's actually an up and you didn't fucking realize it.
That was the big point with this one. Of course, I forgot that entire point entirely, but it's like, there is no up, there is no down. You decide what's up and you decide what's down. Right? And how do you do that? That's not obvious, really, because you can say that, oh, I suffer, that's good. Doesn't really work that way, right?
Yeah.
It's super complicated. And it's worthy a considerable amount of thought.
Yeah, your perception changes everything, and whether that's for good or for bad, it
right.
It
those are the things that keep
so much.
Yeah, those are the things that actually keep me up at night. Like, actually, it's like, no, really, it's like, I don't control my perception, but something does, and that something changes. That's worthy of your attention. And it's a mix of your own preconceptions and also your conception of other people's conceptions. Right?
Yeah. And how you, and of course, and how you take in all that information that you receive, and
all this back to that blasted taste. So you end up having to trust that thing, right? If you try to control it, that's not going to work very well for you. No. I don't think.
No.
But to be aware of it is probably very useful.
Extremely. And learning, I do think a lot of it, learning how to trust your intuition and trust yourself. And it's not fucking easy sometimes.
No, like, this is what people were doing like as late as 200 years ago, when they were getting down on their knees and they were asking God for guidance. I think, at least, that they were basically asking their intuition for permission. It's at least my take on it. And I trust in intuition as someone would trust in God. In that, the same way you would trust an older brother. You're older than me, you're wiser than me, you know more than I do.
I know.
Right? Right? So it's like, oh, I didn't mean that personally. Not at all. No, but that's what, truth be told, that's one of the charms you have. Right? So
What? That
absolutely.
I'm so old.
No, but being able to trust someone is absolutely, powerful stuff. And it's not something to laugh at. So we proceed to laugh at it. Right?
You know,
Absolutely.
I think I am generally very trusting of people. Sometimes I'm like, Ash, calm down. Maybe you shouldn't be quite that trusting, but I believe in the goodness of people. I really, really do. And yeah, sometimes that gets totally disproved, and
Dude,
you're like, oh, okay. But then I still go trust people, so yay.
people call me a cynic. Like, I believe in the good of people. I also believe in the evil of people. But no, like, absolutely, it's like, I really think that your intuition is the wisest part of you, is the smartest part of you. I can't remember where I heard this one, but I might be in one of the lectures I attended. But it's basically like your ability to like grasp phenomena on your own and grapple with them consciously is probably not something that's been a part of your evolutionary history for a very long time. But that gut feeling, that ability to see danger ahead of time or to see opportunity ahead of time, that's like something your cat has that. And that has had a long time to develop and become intelligent. And I kind of see it with that level of reverence. I have absolute reverence when it comes to gut feeling and intuition. Like first responders, like people who like show up on the site of something that's gone terribly wrong. Like when you read those Reddit threads of those, recollecting their experiences, they always say the same things. Like, if your gut feeling says back the fuck off, you do that. And they always like say the craziest stuff afterwards. Like, it turns out there was a murderer hiding there, ready to shoot the next person entering the door, and stuff like that. Right? It's like
Yeah.
that's an intelligence deeper than you're even able to comprehend. And I feel superstitious for acknowledging how insane that is. But that's exactly what I feel.
No,
When it
but
comes to your taste
that's
and your intuition. Yeah.
that's it. That's your primal fucking everything, right? The
Right.
thing that I see when you talk to people, one, people overthink and then they turn off their intuition and they're like, no, we don't do that anymore. Use the brain, but the brain's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I feel passionate about this. Sorry. But
you're entirely right, I think.
Oh no, now you're questioning your intuition too. But that's what I see though. And sometimes it'll start like, say, childhood trauma, or maybe not childhood, but it could start with that, where people say, no, don't feel it, think it, or whatever, right? You'll get these things stuck with you, or I don't know, you just start to distrust your intuition, right? And I think that's one of your like little secrets, is when you can get back into it, bring it back into your body, you can feel it, you can ground with it. You can be like, yes, I can sit with it, and I know that it's not my brain telling me stupid shit. It's like, I feel it right where you're supposed to feel it. Yeah, then you can start moving forward and making fantastic decisions for yourself and, everything.
Yeah, right. So it's like, the stupid side of that is like this whole, everyone has seen that meme, I suppose, of, Jesus take the wheel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the stupid side of it. And it's like, I think there's a proper relationship to have with your intuition where it's like, you make damn sure not to project onto it, I think is kind of the thing that I'm the most wary about. Also, when I do music, it's like there's a difference between this is what I want people to resonate with and this is what feels true to do. And it's a very subtle difference. And that might be one of those things where I question myself the most, because when you have something so powerful as your intuition, right, as everyone has, it becomes so tempting to try to interfere in it and to control it. And it controls you. And when you let it control you, it can probably do marvelous things. I think is the case with everyone because it exceeds their general ability. Like people talk about flow state and people describe flow state as like, my thoughts disappear. I am one with a project, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't think anything. And that's kind of like it. It's like when your deeper self, your intuition, whatever you want to call it, is doing the work, you do better things, and allowing for that to conquer your thinking stupid thoughts, I think great things can happen. Back to the whole reverence thing. It is much smarter than I am, so I'm not going to challenge it.
I definitely agree with that, right? But it's getting to those uncomfortable places sometimes of sitting with it, trusting it, feeling it. Shit's tough.
Yeah, right? It's like people think they can outsmart life.
No, no, it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't. So sometimes you can. That's why we have science.
And then it turns around and comes and bites you in the ass.
No, but it's like you have trade-offs, right? It's like, as we were saying, like science is very slow. It takes a long time to get to the right answer, but it doesn't fall for the stupid traps of gut feelings.
But then, you know what's interesting though, then if you think about scientific theory and everything, it started with intuition, right?
Yeah.
They're like, you know what? I have this crazy idea. And you're like, okay. And then you try it and you're like, yeah, okay.
So you have this legendary lineage of, Socrates to Plato to Aristoteles, right? And I think that a lot of, what we call scientific theory today is basically equated to Aristoteles. Might be slightly wrong because people have also been saying that a lot of it was refinements happening throughout the Middle Ages, and it's probably true too.
Right.
But a lot of it has to do with, just empiricism, observing the phenomena. And later came the whole idea of you postulate a hypothesis first, and you are very specific about like what goes into the equation and what do I think is going to happen and so forth, like very physics oriented. And it's like, you can't fool it, right? You can't use gut feeling either. Well, no. Actually, you can, but you have to make sure that you put that you're specific, right?
Yeah.
And then you're damned sure, kind of, over time at least. It's like, how do these things fit together if you do it right? So I trust science quite a lot. I get into an airplane and on tour at least, that was the case. Like I get into an airplane and I trust that it's going to work. Not because of gut feeling of some dude who just thought something up. The gut feeling probably got the idea of an airplane, probably, but making sure it's reliable in a boring way. Yeah. I want an airplane ride to be boring. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no kidding. That's the one thing. It's like, please be boring. Yeah, not eventful, please.
I have my best ideas when I'm in airplanes.
Oh, really?
You know what I do? Especially when things get shaky. Yeah?
I fall asleep. I fall asleep before we take off, and then
You're way too trusting.
Right? Oh man, I love that feeling. And then it's like the white noise of the engine. I'm like, wow, I could catch a great nap right now. And then I have a great time. And then I sit there and then, I might write a bit or, whatever. And then I'm like, wow, I'm tired. And then I go back to sleep. That's me.
No, several of my Isiliel ideas came from airplane rides.
Really?
Yeah. So, I flew to Tokyo is one thing. So with my ex, I used to fly a lot. So I got a lot of ideas in airplane rides, specifically when things were going wrong. Yeah. Because when things are going wrong, you kind of connect to what's important, right?
Yeah.
Turbulence is like suddenly you have these, right?
Yeah. It's so true.
No, not wasting your time with shit that's not important.
So coming back home after the tour, you were excited to kind of get outdoors, reconnect, have a little downtime. What's that look like for you then?
I don't have downtime.
Okay.
I try to have downtime, but I can't.
Nature time, happy time, time. It's not necessarily down, but it's...
So, of course, like, what do I do when I have fun and I'm not actually trying to do something cool? And I'm always trying to do something cool. Because otherwise I get bored to death. But not everything, is stuff that translates to a product, right? So, like, one of the things to do is, like, I have this great friend that I played Baldur's Gate 3 with. It's like, that's a bloody good time. So, we just played yesterday. Almost beat the game.
Oh,
so
really?
Yeah, it's bloody good. I fucking love retro games and fantasy games. That's really my jam. It's a bloody great time. And I try to have daily walks in nature. I actually haven't had the energy because tour really made me exhausted. So I've been waking up and going up and just composing and going back to sleep, kind of. having baths, I suppose. But when I have my me time, as it were, if I didn't want to create things, and I sometimes happen upon those moods, I kind of just go down rabbit holes. Retro video, and they're fun. It's like retro video games for some reason. It's like, okay, so like this is cool. Where did this come from? Chrono Trigger. Oh, and that became a huge musical influence. Like I love the music of Chrono Trigger and like Chrono Cross. The Chrono Cross specifically. Yasunori Mitsuda is a great composer. And I go for walks in nature when I have the energy for it, and I love doing it. And I meet with friends, and then I take my friends out in the woods, and we drink beer and go through the woods, right? And then I read all the time. I take a book into the woods, and I read the book in the woods.
It sounds very Norwegian of you.
Yeah. Right, bring like a thermos of coffee,
Yes.
Fucking great day in Mother Nature.
That
right?
actually sounds like a great day.
It is a great day. It really is, because it's like when you just put down the book, weirdly enough, you read the book for a few hours, but after a while you're just relaxed. You're in that brain state where you're just like, you're not thinking too hard. So you just sit there and you're connected to nature, and it's magical. And it's absolutely magical. And I do this weird thing that no other Norwegian does, if you want to comment on my Norwegianness. But Norwegian people, when they go into the woods, they have like barrigans, they have like, these sports outfits thingies to show people that they're really sporty. Or because, whatever. I'm not going to judge. But they have like these flashy colors in nature. And that's always been like a clash to me. Like weirdly enough, when I go into, the forest, and this is so weird, I recognize it's weird, but I wear stuff like this, like nice shirts. I really do believe in that, having reverence for nature and like going into it with the right attitude. It's like a ritualistic mindset, kind of.
Yeah, that I do understand, though. But
you do?
No, I totally understand that. I mean, if I'm going in the woods, I'll probably be wearing black, but when don't I? And I can definitely see that, though. I don't know. I'm picturing you having a little woodland ritual, and I love that.
It looks like me drinking coffee, reading a book.
I can see it, and I kind of love it. It's great.
And listening to my brain and not judging. That's kind of the important part.
Listening and not judging.
Yeah.
And that's a fucking skill to master right there.
It really is. It's really hard.
But you do it.
I try. Yoda says, do not try, do, or whatever. Try, do not, do. Or
well, I don't know what it is.
I should remember what it is.
I'm kind of awful with that. But it's okay. If you had one piece of advice to give to somebody kind of getting started with or getting back to their creative journey, what would you tell them?
Only one is very hard.
First thing that pops to your mind.
First thing that pops to my mind is the whole follow your heart thing. But don't follow your heart stupidly. Never try to corrupt your hearts. I think that's the big risk, actually. Corrupting your hearts is the big risk. The thing is that if you want something to work, you're going to impede on it. You're going to do things that are going to corrupt the process. But your heart is going to tell you what you need, often, not always, but often. It's going to tell you what is good. This Japanese concept called ikigai, which is like the perfect middle ground between what you like doing, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you love. What makes you money? That's the fourth one. So what you love, what the world needs, what you're good at, and what you're skilled at. But a significant part of that is you kind of already know like what you want to say, right? Everyone has something that they've noticed in the world. Everyone has something that they think the world needs more of. And I think that nerve that says that I wish the world was more like this, what Nietzsche called the will to power, I guess, to some degree. I think that nerve is the most magical thing ever because it connects you to the world. And the thing that connects you to the world, I think, is what the world needs the most. Because what connects us to the world isn't random. It's kind of like, I have this deep feeling in my heart. Like, I always approach songwriting with this mindset, but it's like, I have something that I noticed, like when I watched anime when I was 14 years old, for instance, right? It's like, there's this deep feeling of something here. and I want to capture that feeling so other people can feel it more clearly, right? Mm-hmm. And if I do that, then people tend to connect to it in a non-random way. Of course, you have your audience and all those things to take into consideration, but it's like really trusting in your hearts in the most honest way you can do it without overthinking it is my number one advice to anyone. Don't think about rules. Don't think about what people think about it. Don't think about anything. Feel it. I have never done otherwise. When I do otherwise, I fail. And if I just let go and trust in my feeling, intuition, heart, whatever, things weirdly tend to work out. And I'm not the best person to give that advice yet, but that's the advice I follow myself right now.
I think that's really good advice, though, for any part of your journey. So if people wanted to connect with you, is there a way people can connect with you? And we'll put a link to your ads.
Put a link to my Facebook. That's probably the best one. Connect me on Facebook. Send me a message. That's probably the best way.
That sounds great. Well, I'm going to say thank you again for joining me today. It is, tonight. It's been lovely, and I really appreciate it. And so now I need the rest of you guys all on the show.
Well, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for listening to my demented ramblings.
No, it's wonderful. So make sure you're following along for any more show announcements and updates, and then we can't wait to see you on the road again.
How about this one?
Oh?
If there is going to be a show in December in Norway, it is probably going to be the sickest fucking Isiliel show that has ever been thus far.
Okay.
And that we can say.
Everybody should fucking be there.
Yeah, supposing that such an event is taking place.
If there was an event that might potentially happen in December in Norway.
It would be one to partake in, no doubts.
Okay. That's amazing. Thank you again so much for your time. We'll talk soon. Bye.
Yes. Goodbye.
Thanks so much for joining us on the Healthy Metal Hippie podcast. For more ways to connect, go to www.healthymetalhippie.com.